Hello everyone, this is part one of who knows how many videos I'm going to have to take to show you the fitting of the front tyre to the bike. The main one being that we've got a thunderstorm coming and the lighting's not very good. So I just thought I'd talk you through what I am likely to do and then do it, and I'll show you all the components and the tools that I've used, and then we'll wrap things up at probably 2 or 3 parts. Okay, now I've had the new tyre fitted to the original rim, so that's the Avon Cobra with a defective appearance. Can't find any defects, but it's a brand new tyre. I mentioned these before, yeah, it's gone on well. It's got a brand new tube in it. Although it's a tubeless tyre, the spoke rim does suggest that you need to put a tube in it. Even though I've powder coated it, I can't guarantee that it's airtight, so a tube goes in to a tubeless tyre. I don't mind. So that will go on to this. Now, the other thing I need to bear in mind is, or just point out to you, let me just back up a little bit, is you'll see that the bike is actually sitting on the platform, the hydraulic platform. Now this allows me to just lift up the bike enough in order to loosen the front wheel without having to worry too much about the weight of everything. Now if you'll see that the front wheel is barely touching the ground, okay, and that's the way I want it, because once I've taken all the bits off, the axle and the speedo drive and everything else, I can then use the hydraulic platform to lift the bike higher, so that as I'm sure you can see, there's about 6 inches of tyre inside the mudguard, so I need more height in order to leave this wheel behind. And then the fitting of the tyre is going to be in reverse. Now the other thing I need to show you is that there is, just behind the fork leg, there is the caliper cover. Now I don't anticipate having to remove that. It's not necessary to remove it, unless there is a problem releasing the disc from the grip of the caliper. There shouldn't be any grip, but it's just in case the caliper, the disc is worn and has created a lip around the edge of the disc, which then catches or fouls with the disc pads inside the caliper. And in order to get to the caliper, I need to take that cover off, but I don't anticipate doing that yet. Now just to let you know what we're looking at in terms of components. Now, like I said, let me just fold the legs up on this. The lighting is not particularly good, but what we've got here is we've got the securing nut, an uncastellated nut. It's just an ordinary standard nut. On the outside of the fork leg, and on the inside of the fork leg is a spacer, which in fact, if you look at this, you can see this any better. The spacer just goes in there and sits on the bearing face. On this side, we've got the end of the axle bolt, and there is a cinch bolt here, so that will need to be loosened off in order to draw that bolt out. Then you've got on the inside the speedo drive. Now I've seen some questions on Facebook lately about people going through speedo drives as if they're shoddy, poor quality or whatever, and some of these are original equipment speedo cables. And the thing to remember down here is the speedo cable. It's got a slight curve to it. It comes up through this retaining hook and up and to the speedo itself. So when I take all this lot apart, I'll be having a look at the problems that people might have refitting a speedo cable, because there is a special, how can I say, there's a shape at the bottom of the fork leg here which matches up to this speedo drive, so it can only go in one place. And I'm just not sure, but I suspect that some people may not know that, and they're having difficulties with it. So that's what we'll have a look at when we get all this lot apart. Okay, so because of the lighting and because I need both of my hands, I'm not actually going to video, sorry, let me just put this back here. I'm not actually going to video the doing of it, I'm just going to do it. And so we'll probably do it in 3 parts. We'll have this particular video, I'll take it all apart, show you all the components, so that'll be part 2, and then put everything back and put the bike back on the ground. Okay, now the other thing to remember, I've said this before and I'll say it again, when you've got the bike on the hydraulic stand, make sure that your side stand remains extended. Like I said before, it's very easy to kick the side stand out of the way, forget that it's there, and when you lower the bike on the platform, the bike will have a tendency to fall to the left, and if there's no side stand out, it'll fall on the ground. Okay, so just be careful, and remember, keep the side stand out at all times. Okay, so that's the setup. The bike is sitting on the hydraulic platform. The wheel is barely touching the ground, like I said there. Okay, which will allow me to take everything off, the axle, bolt and all the paraphernalia will allow me to take that off without having to hold the weight of the wheel at the same time. That's the difficult bit. You need 3 to 4 hands to do this without a hydraulic platform. So I strongly recommend, if you don't have a hydraulic platform, borrow one or buy one, because you'll use it again and again and again, and eventually, like me, you won't be able to do it without it. Okay, so that's the message really. Get yourself a hydraulic platform, make it much easier and much safer to do this job. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that you need ratchet straps on this, but I'm going to do it just as an example, because we're going to take a lot of weight off the front, and as we put the rear wheel on, already there's an equal amount of weight at the back, and it's just to avoid any tilting, but I'll show you how we do that, and you'll see that it's no problem at all. And I'm not convinced that we're going to need the ratchet straps, but we'll use them just in case, so that at least you can see how it's done. Okay, now the other message is that you'll see the mud guards and the stripes on it. I'm working with a colleague of mine, and we're going to replicate the vinyl stripes for the rear, front mud guards and the fuel tank. It's proving to be just a little bit awkward, but I think we're nearly there, and then we'll be able to offer them up for people who want to restripe their mudguards. We're also going into fiberglass mudguards, and you'll see that there is a whitish one at the back upside down. We've just taken one out of a mould, which seems to be fairly successful, so those will be available for sale shortly. I'll put an advert on Facebook and then let you know. Okay, but we'll go back to this this front wheel. We're going to put that wheel onto this bike and put this wheel back in the cupboard, which is at the back where the big white blob is. That's all the parts of another drifter. so that can go back to its original owner. Okay, that's it for now. I'll see you in part 2. Thank you.